everybody doing today? Good? All right. Hey, we're going to release the kids in just a few minutes. Stick with me for till we get to that point, guys. We're in week 5 of our series. We're closing out our series, The Field of Ministry. And we want to make some announcements as we get into this. If you're looking around, if it's your first time, you've never seen one of our expo weekends, we only do this twice a year. We'll explain why, but just know that next week we'll be right back to looking normal in here, all right? So online, until now, expo has always been a in-person thing only. And so if you were online watching, I want you to continue watching. We got some information just for you guys. So for everyone in-house, this word gatherings means a new thing here at RockFish Church. We are launching this weekend. We're proud to tell you that online viewership never has to be just spectating only anymore. There is now a path to membership, path to getting involved and engagement online for anybody watching wherever they are in the world. We know that this is one of the mechanisms we have in place to bring about partners and plants in every state in the country, in every country in the world. We've had this test model going on for quite a while now with a group of families that have been meeting in Gettysburg, Pennsylvania. All right, they've been helping us figure this out and work with us together. We got a whole process in place to bring people along, to get them trained up and equip them to be gatherings hosts. So this is specifically for people who live outside the area or just can't make it in for whatever reason. So online, stick around. We got a message just for you guys right after I'm done speaking. But this is really great for anybody here, too, that you would know that if you ever end up leaving this area, you could be a part of RockFish Gatherings. You could end up launching one. We've got Gettysburg, Pennsylvania, and we got a couple that are starting up really soon, if not today. We have Gainesville, Georgia, Kannapolis, North Carolina, and I think it's Killdeer, North Dakota will be not too long from now. So this is a really cool opportunity. It's a great way for us to take online viewership and turn it into online membership and action. So that's what we want to do from this point forward. So just know that that's an option for you if you ever depart from this area. All right, so another announcement. You saw the thing about men's retreat coming up. Just a reminder, we got men's retreat in 3 weeks. The ladies' retreat will be in September. The men are back at Camp RockFish this year, which means everybody who went out to Dixie last year, it's closer for everybody. And the ladies are going to try out Camp Dixie this year. So scholarshiping is still available, whether you want to give one or you need to receive one, so you can go. We don't want to leave no person behind who wants to attend. But this is for a church that's spread out over 3 physical sites and online. Anybody's welcome. You don't have to be a member. This is an opportunity for connections to be made, for relationships to be birthed that will turn into great friendships, great fellowship, testimonies going to be shared, worship's going to happen, fun games. Ladies, they're going to have all the beautiful food spread out. Men, we're going to come in with all the junk food and we're just going to pile it on a couple folding tables. We'll still have meals, right? But just know that when you come, there's going to be a mountain of food, okay? And it's going to be your job to help us take down that mountain, all right? But this is the one opportunity to bring all of our sites, all of our campuses together and truly be one family for the men, one for the women. And I would really encourage anyone who's never been to go. And if you've been, share the word about how awesome it was for you when you went before too. One more announcement for you guys, and that is if you've been receiving text messages from RockFish Church in the past that would tell you about a midweek update or a prayer request or maybe a weather issue caused us to close the church or skip a service or something like that. Because of new FCC rules that are in place, that mechanism that we've been using has been halted, and you can't continue to receive those messages unless you were to text the word START to the phone number you see up on the screen, or if you were already receiving, you probably got an email Tuesday night around 5 o'clock that would tell you how to do it that way. Either way, you have to proactively go out and decide, I do want to continue to receive text message updates from RockFish Church. Okay, so just know that if we're trying to communicate with you and it's not getting through, it's probably because you got to do one of these 2 things. And we just want to make sure that there's open line of communication between you and us. All right, so back into the sermon series, The Field of Ministry. We spent the last 4 weeks talking about the seed, its power, its purpose, and only what it can do, right? The soil and the necessity that we would spend time tilling and taking care of that soil so that when the seed comes, it would plant and take good root and it would flourish. And the sower, and the role of the sower, the responsibility of the sower to go out and cast the seed everywhere, but the ability to bring creativity and strategy any way possible to be more effective and more productive in throwing out that seed. And that we would have to bring this perfect, unadulterated seed. And then lastly, last week was the sheep and the shepherd, right? Those 99 sheep, what are they called to do? That's important. What are we supposed to do? You say you're part of the body. That means you follow the shepherd and you do what he tells you to do. That means he's called you into work, right? But each one of these factors into and brings us to a point of harvest in the field. And so big surprise, right? We've been working towards Expo all month long. If you've been here a minute, you weren't surprised by this, right? But we're not here to harvest you. We're here to get you involved in the harvest for others. Who are we harvesting? We're harvesting those seeds that were planted and watered for so long. We're harvesting the sheep that have been lost and brought back in. It's time to shave them down, to shear those sheep, right? We're supposed to be bringing in all who were called, all that were planted, and be part of that harvesting. This is our opportunity. We know that we've been called to serve, and many hands make light work. That concept is illustrated really well in the book Nehemiah in chapter 3. I would encourage you, take 2 to 3 minutes this week and read through Nehemiah chapter 3, and you'll see where God doesn't just acknowledge that things were done and he said go and do, but that when he said go and do and the people went to do it, that he acknowledges them by name and by specifics of what they did, what they brought. And so I want you to know that when you go to work for God in his kingdom, there's a record. He keeps records. He knows exactly who's doing what, and you are credited for the things. Now those things, those tasks, those deeds, they don't buy you salvation, right? That's only by the free gift of God, the death of Jesus on the cross that could give you salvation. But it's because you've received the salvation. It's because somebody harvested you so long ago that you can now turn around and plant a seed in return. And we can pay that gospel forward. And so I want you to have the opportunity to receive the benefits, to receive the honor from God for working in his field as he's called you to do. But we see in chapter 3 of Nehemiah that there are dozens, if not hundreds, of people acknowledged precisely for what they did in building the walls. In Matthew 9, verse 35 through 38, says Jesus went through all the towns and villages, teaching in their synagogues, proclaiming the good news of the kingdom and healing every disease and sickness. When he saw the crowds, he had compassion on them because they were harassed and helpless like sheep without a shepherd. Then he said to his disciples, the harvest is plentiful, but the workers are few. Ask the Lord of the harvest, therefore, to send out workers into his harvest field. So we know that God told us, he said, ask the Lord to send laborers. And we do. We ask him, we pray regularly. Ministry leaders, leadership, staff, we're involved in that. We want to see a healthy church body working in the field. But we go beyond that ask and we make it easily available for you to learn every opportunity you have here to serve at RockFish Church. And if you are serving outside RockFish Church and that is enough for you, then by all means, let that be enough. I just want you to know we've got opportunities for you. We've got a place for your gifting, a place that will probably fit your time schedule because we've got something going on all times of the week and month. And I want you to receive credit for what God's gifted you with, that you would turn right back around and pour it into the kingdom. So that's today. Today is our dedication. Ministry leaders and representatives, you can start moving towards your tables right now. We're going to release the kids in just a few minutes. I want to highlight a couple things here. So everything you see towards the top here in the white, that's all ministries that are geared towards serving within the body and usually even within the context of a service. But we've got small groups. If you're interested in being a part of a small group or hosting a small group, you can get in contact with Dan DeBruler right over here in the corner, and he'll tell you what's expected. That's specifically for discipleship. I mean, it turns into fellowship, don't get me wrong, but it's modeled for discipleship. Right? We've got outreach. If you're interested in reaching outside the walls, reaching outside the body, and bringing in those lost sheep, planting new seeds, that happens right over here. And we've got multiple tables dedicated to outreach under Clay Davis. If you've got a child, We have an entire pipeline to take you from the day that child is born until the day they turn 18. We got a pipeline for them to be served, loved, and taught to the point where they get to 12 years old, and we even continue to pour into them at the same time, opening the door for them to serve others as well, that it would be part of their DNA that they would serve. And if you need some healing, if you need to work through some things, we've got divorce care and we've got Celebrate Recovery. If you've experienced divorce, you've gone through it. I don't care if you're remarried and it's been 15 years since you're divorced and you got some baggage you want to clean up, try out divorce care. Celebrate Recovery, I think, always kind of gets the perception that, oh, it's like AA, right? But it's not. It's for anyone who's got scars, who's got issues they've got to work through. Both of these things are curriculum driven. They're specifically modeled, they're Christ-centered, and they're well-tested. They exist throughout the country. It's not something we just dreamt up, and there's a program for each, all right? So if you need healing in those areas, please contact Divorce Care, Celebrate Recovery. They're going to be right over here today, all right? So in just a second, when Abe comes up and releases the kids, we're going to send the kids out. The music's going to play. The lights are going to come up. When the kids are out, Expo starts. So please, at that point, go ahead and get out of your seats, migrate to the tables, find a place to serve. And I just want to say, if you've been serving in the kingdom and you've been part of what makes RockFish so great with the servant culture, I just want to say thank you. Thank you to what you've done in God's kingdom for his people. You can go to a lot of churches and you can see a lot of things, but you can't go to as many churches as we ought to and see the percentage of people pouring right back into the church, pouring right back into the community. I just want to say thank you for giving God a good name, giving RockFish a good name here with your giftings, with your abilities. Now, if it's going to be your first time that you try and step into a servant role, a ministry role here at RockFish Church, you got to be a member. And you got to know what we're about. So there's a vetting process, and that vetting process is going to Starting Point. You get a chance right now, today, you can go talk to Pastor Tony or some of our elders, and they can tell you what's going to happen in Starting Point. You can get that conversation started today. We have Starting Point occurs every Sunday at 12:10 in the conference room, right out across the hall. And we would take 4 weeks to tell you about who we are, what we believe, why we do, how we govern. And you get the opportunity to ask as many questions as you want, take as long as you want to decide if you want to be a member. But if you want to serve, you got to be a member. Now, you can be served without being one, but if you want to serve here, we are required by the Word of God to know those who labor among us, and that is our opportunity to get to know you and to receive some accountability on both sides of that relationship. So, with that, all that said, we are ready to bring up and release the kids. And after that, enjoy, guys. Thank you.
All right, thank you so much for joining us today. I am so excited. We have some content that is primarily for our online audience. So you are in the right place. And today I have with me Clay Davis. Clay, what do you do?
I am the Director of Outreach here at RockFish Church.
He is God's man of faith and power. I am honored to have Clay with us today. So Clay, you've been working on something for a while.
We've been working on what we call RockFish Church gatherings.
Okay.
This is a project that God has been walking us through and developing over the last few months, and it's really a tool that it'll be our church planning mechanism going forward.
Okay.
Now, that may sound overwhelming to some people, so let me put you at ease. Not every gathering do we expect to become a church plant.
Okay.
But I do want that put out there, that there's that possibility. So as we go through this, we'll talk about the possible growth path as well.
Well, we've just lost half of our audience because I think you just scared them. So to begin with, a very simple question, because I know people want to know. They see this emblem back here, this logo. What is a RockFish Church gathering?
A RockFish Church gathering is quite simply, it's a group of people that gather together. They come together in community for connection, and they do that around a RockFish Church service that's being broadcast online.
Kind of like what's happening right now. the
Yes.
way that you're watching, or the way that the folks are gathering to watch right now, maybe with their family, or maybe you're by yourself. So it would be the folks that are watching this would simply say, you know what, hey, come over. I'm going to be hosting an event, and they would watch a live service.
A live service or a recorded service.
A pre-recorded service.
Pre-recorded
Okay.
service.
So there's
yes.
flexibility.
The flexibility in the time. They can do it on a Saturday evening. We have one gathering that's doing that. It gives that time for those that are in different time zones.
Okay.
We have one gathering that is 6:30 in the morning when we start our 10:30 service. So
Okay.
they'll watch it at a later time. We have the potential to go around the world with this, literally through partnerships with people in different places, simply because you're not locked into a certain time slot.
Okay, so what is the functional difference between a RockFish Church gathering and what we refer to very often as our RockFish Church small groups? What's the difference there?
Our small groups are local to our physical campuses. They are hosted by a RockFish Church member who has been through the membership, the background check, the small group training. RockFish Church gatherings are outside of our local area.
Okay.
They're not typically designed for people that can drive reasonably to a physical campus. While there are some requirements of hosts, we don't just you don't just pick up the phone or send an email and automatically become a host, but
It's pretty low level entry.
it's pretty low level entry.
Okay, so why would what would be the benefits of somebody who said, you know what, guys, I want to host a RockFish Church gathering? What are the benefits? What happens? What is that?
Connection with like-minded believers.
Very good, good.
The worship that comes with the service, live or pre-recorded.
Okay.
I myself am not, a good singer.
Okay.
So for me to host a gathering, for me to host a group and lead,
That's two of us.
that would not go well.
So this really takes a lot of pressure.
It takes that pressure off, but they have the option because they can do their own worship if they're equipped.
Okay.
And they have the talent there to do it.
Okay.
The teaching that will come each week, solid biblical teaching. We provide support that goes with that, but those connection, personal growth, and community growth.
Okay, so these groups can get together and engage in some of our outreach or reach activities. Is that expected? Is that possible?
That is expected and encouraged.
Highly encouraged. Okay.
Highly encouraged. Just like we are highly focused on outreach at each one of our physical locations, even in our online campus, we're focused on outreach. We're always encouraging people to like and share and subscribe. That's a way we'll have opportunities for each one to engage their community around where they are based on the needs of the community and what's going on in that community.
Man, this sounds really, really good. So maybe the folks watching or somebody saying, you know what, this would work where I am. I could do this, but I really don't feel equipped. I don't feel like maybe I'm adequate. Maybe my giftings don't line up with this, but I would like to. Is there training?
There is training.
Okay.
We have the training. The initial part of the training is done through 2 different video series. One is training for and about RockFish Church.
It's like an online starting point.
Like an online starting point.
Okay.
Talks about who we are, what we do, the why behind what we do, the core beliefs, what are our things that we don't compromise on, those closed-handed issues that
Right.
you to be even a partner with RockFish Church, we're going to have to agree on certain things. So it covers that. And then there's a 4 video series that is training on the gatherings. It covers the expectations and the few requirements. We don't have many. It provides some guidance as to best practices, ways to avoid getting yourself in the potential trouble that comes with hosting a group, and those kinds of things. And then there's ongoing training and support. It's not just, hey, okay, so you watch a few videos and now figure it out on your own.
Okay.
There is ongoing support from myself. There'll be other training videos. There'll be opportunity for phone calls. I'm available to the gathering hosts.
Okay.
They all have my cell phone number, my email. I'm available to them for more than just gatherings questions. I kind of look at that as you know, I'm responsible for them, just like they were members at the Anderson Creek campus, where I'm also the campus coordinator.
Beautiful. You know, as Clay and I were kind of discussing this, and like you said, we've been working through this for months. We're super excited. We hope you will absolutely consider being a part of this. See if this works for you and for where you are. I want to ask, you know, who can host? In other words, I know we talked about there doesn't need to be a ton of massive qualifications, but let's just say someone were interested in hosting a RockFish group or a RockFish gathering, and they felt as though there was a calling, or they felt like God may be leading them into something a little deeper. Is this kind of an entry level
Yes,
program?
it is. It is entry level. It is the expectations I talked about. It's not an expectation that your gathering will turn into a
Micro church
or a full church plant that's designed to grow to 2 or 5 or 100 people or whatever. We start where we are. We're faithful where we are, and every gathering will come with the same support. If it's a gathering of 5 people or it's a gathering of 50 people,
right?
It's not about building numbers.
Okay.
It's about advancing God's kingdom.
Okay. And so there are resources that the folks will receive that are online resources, but there are some other resources. You have a kickoff kit.
We do. We have a we're not sure what we're calling it.
Okay.
It's been referred to as a kickoff kit, a starter kit, a welcome packet.
Right.
Haven't decided on a formal name, but that's going to include yard signs
Okay.
to help promote the gathering, RockFish Church decals for their vehicles.
Okay.
That have the rockfishchurch.com on there, which is how people can find out about the gatherings in their area. We have invitation cards.
Oh, nice.
That they can actually hand out. The invitation cards have a QR code, so they can scan the QR code and find the gathering closest to them.
Okay.
Also in that, we share initially some of our values folders that talks about the core values of RockFish Church,
Okay.
so that they can share that with others to be able to share who we are. It comes with, I went ahead and threw in 30 communion cups.
Okay.
So that
All
they
right.
have the ability, because we do communion the first Sunday of every month.
We do.
That's, God didn't tell us how often to do it. We've decided that's what works for us. And so that gives them that opportunity to be a part of that with us and not feel like there's something different. We want each gathering to understand you're a part of RockFish Church.
Beautiful.
We have some first-time guest cards. So that as people come in the first time, they can get their information, so that they'll be able to put their information in, so that they can communicate. We have Realm that they'll be able to use to communicate with their gathering, those that are attending their gathering, to help track. They can record attendance, and we'll count their attendance as a part of the larger, just like we account the attendance in the Philippines and at each one of our physical and campuses, as well as online.
And there's website representation, so people will be able to go on the website and find out where all of these gatherings are taking place. So we're going to help in the promotion.
Their gatherings will be listed almost like our locations are.
Okay, beautiful.
So the gatherings will have their own rfcgatherings.com, which people can find that. That's what'll be on the yard signs and the invitation cards, and that'll bring them to a page where they can find the gathering closest to them.
Okay. So whether you are local to RockFish Church, and let's say that you're one of our incredibly special military folks, and you're going to be moving away, PCSing to a different location, this is ideal for you. Something like this allows you to go and to connect quickly with the community. And again, we don't offer this as a substitute for the church. We want you to be connected to a local church. We believe that everybody should be connected to a local church. But this is a way to build community and fellowship and ongoing discipleship and outreach in any context. And we know that folks are in a plethora of different situations and circumstances, and we want to meet you there. It is an opportunity for you to connect with RockFish Church in a greater way and in a greater connectivity to be able to reach intentionally. You know, we say this, frequently. You'll hear that our mission statement is God has called us to make, equip, and release fully committed followers of Jesus. And we see this as a viable tool, a powerful tool. So whether you're relocating or you're in another state and you're watching right now, I want to invite you, I want to encourage you to please consider being a part of RockFish Church in the context of a RockFish Church gathering. We've got this cool little logo that we've designed. You know, this obviously took hours and hours and hours to make, but we want to help you do that. We want to help you reach your call, your calling's potential, or the fellowship that you're desiring, or the outreach that you're desiring. Clay, any closing thoughts?
I was just thinking, when we look at the early church, when we look at in the book of Acts, they didn't have big buildings and
Right.
and programs. They did life together, and that's what gatherings offers. In the same way, small groups offer that at our physical campuses. Gatherings offer this opportunity to do life together with other like-minded believers, wherever you are in whatever context or situation you find yourself.
So whether it's you or someone you know, if you are interested or again, of someone who may be interested, you can find more information at rockfishchurch.com. There is a gatherings tab. You should be able to easily locate us, look under locations, or at RockFish Church gatherings. And Clay would love to help you.
Absolutely.
I would love to help you and encourage you. And I want to invite you again, consider being a part of taking the gospel to the entire world and reaching effectively with the gospel.